A state of emergency at the Texas border. The mayor of El Paso making the declaration late Saturday.
Our asylum seekers are not safe as we have hundreds and hundreds on the streets, and that's not the way we want to treat people.
He says more than 15,000 migrants have arrived in the last week, and now that number is expected to explode with a Trump-era policy known as Title 42 set to be lifted on Wednesday. The public health rule implemented in March of 2020 in response to the COVID pandemic, making it easier to return hundreds of thousands of migrants to Mexico.
If the courts do not intervene and put a halt to the removal of Title 42, it's going to be total chaos.
Officials say the number of migrants attempting to cross the border could more than double daily, but border towns are already strained. ¿Para dónde vas?
Nueva York.
Nueva York. He's waiting for transport so he can get to New York. Men, women, and children fleeing violence and poverty, seeking asylum at this makeshift camp in downtown El Paso. This is one of the parts of El Paso where the asylum seekers are sleeping on the ground. This person's even using a cardboard box to stay warm. They're also getting food and water in this area. It's right next to the bus station where some of these buses are being used for them to get to their destination. Others seeking shelter at El Paso International Airport. A border shutdown in El Paso, Texas, as hundreds force their way onto the Paso del Norte International Bridge. Men, women, and children pushing Mexican soldiers out of the way in an attempt to enter the U.S. It seems they were misinformed, said this Mexican official, telling our Telemundo affiliate they were told they would be allowed into the U.S. once at the port of entry. U.S. border officials say 2 other international bridges in the area were affected by other groups of migrants coming from Ciudad Juarez.
I just saw everyone recording. Understand what they're going through, but I think that they need to do it the right way.
This is not the first time a large group arrives this way at the port of entry. In 2018, members of a migrant caravan attempted to force their way through the San Isidro port of entry in San Diego. The border there shut down temporarily as the migrants were stopped. The incident forcing officials to tighten security.
The pandemic-era immigration policy known as Title 42 will come to an end. The rules were enacted in March of 2020 at the start of the pandemic and allowed the U.S. to immediately turn back migrants to Mexico or their home countries as a health measure. As the policy nears its end, more migrants are headed to the border.
Officials estimate 11 to 13,000 a day may arrive along the entire southern border. Texas Governor Greg Abbott deployed nearly 600 more National Guard troops today.
They will be deployed to hot spots along the border to intercept, to repel, and to turn back migrants who are trying to enter Texas illegally.
Abbott and other top Republicans have said ending Title 42 will encourage illegal immigration. The COVID-era policy allowed for the quick expulsion of most migrants on public health grounds, but that emergency has ended.
With the Biden administration ending Title 42 this Thursday, President Biden is laying down a welcome mat to people across the entire world, saying that the United States border is wide open, and it would lead to an incredible amount of people coming across the border illegally. President Biden's open border policies is going to cause a catastrophic disaster in the United States. According to the Biden administration itself, they anticipate about 13,000 people coming across the border illegally every single day. So never forget this. Just 3 years ago, we had the lowest border crossings in decades. And those low number of border crossings were a result of the policies put in place by the Trump administration. It was the Title 42 policy, the Remain in Mexico policy, the ending of catch and release, building a border wall, as well as sending a message across the entire world. America is not open to people who are trying to come here illegally. If you want to come to the United States of America, you must do so legally, not illegally.